Today I have a special friend on with me, my friend Ron. Ron is also plays a really great David Lee Roth for a band, Jamie's Cryin. That's how I met him. I've known Ron for many years. I met you in 97 or 96. And I'm going to be playing a little bit of that at the end. One of his gigs. He did a great job. Some people say that Ron was better than the real David Lee Roth. So you'll be the judge of that. And in fact, we're going to talk about more of that in another episode. But I'll give you a little sample at the end of this video. Van Halen 1984, released January 9th, 1984, produced by Ted Templeman. A great year in music, not just for rock, but we had Prince, Michael Jackson.
Springsteen was huge. Madonna, yep. It was just a great year for music. I was in fourth grade when I got this album. How about you? I was 1 year out of school.
Oh, okay. Yeah. From Columbia Record House, just send it to me which was cool, like for no reason. And I didn't have MTV, so I didn't see all the videos, but I didn't, this was my first exposure to Van Halen. So we go into this instrumental thing. It was supposed to be the bass intro, right? For Michael Anthony. That was what it was intended for.
When I hear it, it just thrills the hell out of me. Just that first instrumental and then going right into Jump is just pure perfection.
No, it wasn't the first time that they introduced the synthesizer to their music, correct?
No, that would have been on Women and Children first.
Yeah.
And Dave hated it.
Yeah, David Lee Roth was not a fan of it, and I know Eddie Van Halen was trying to do this for a couple of years, get the synthesizer in it. Yeah, it just it kind of wasn't cool, but it worked for Jump, and I think I'll wait.
Oh, it was amazing. I like the fact that Eddie would always go in when he was by himself and retweak everything the way he actually wanted it.
Song number 3, Panama.
Believe it or not, it's one of the songs that I've heard so much in my life. Unless I'm driving, in my Jeep, I don't really listen to it if it comes on the radio. If I'm driving, I love it. It's just one of the coolest driving songs.
Yes, it definitely is a driving song. I remember driving with my mom, and Panama came on the radio when it slows down.
Right.
And she's like, that is revolting, Nina. Turn this off. She got really angry. I was not for that.
I actually had a big party, and when I took these girls home, people can call me a liar, but I cracked my car up at that part.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, my mind wasn't there. I didn't know what he was talking about. I just thought he had a cool, reclining seat in his car. So I was doing the same thing he was talking about while I was driving, and with a girl, Tracy Wentling. I'll never forget her name. Oh God. All right. Hopefully she's not watching. I remember as a kid wanting to watch the late night show with David Letterman to see Eddie Van Halen play with his band. David Letterman's band.
1985. Yeah, I remember that.
No, it was 84 and it was 85.
What?
In 2. Yeah. So it was kind of weird to hear Panama done like that. Track 4, Top Jimmy. That's my favorite on the album.
One of my favorites.
Jimmy, the vendor, and he also had a band called Jimmy and the Rhythm Pigs, and they were the house band. And David Lee Roth invested in them. And
That's right. I do remember that now.
Yeah, the stereo guitar is a big part of that Top Jimmy song. I love the sound, how it echoes back and forth. That's what makes it so cool.
He's got the love, Top Jimmy. Woo, sing it, baby.
Track 5, Drop Dead Legs. What do you think about it?
One of my favorites.
Not one of your favorites.
No, that's one of my favorite. That's got the groove, the Van Halen groove, whatever you want to call it, the Brown sound. It's just his playing is phenomenal. You can't compare it to anybody.
Sounds kind of like an engine, doesn't it? At the beginning.
Yeah.
Drums.
Get that motor running.
That's why I used the Lamborghini in the video. And I also like the clanking of the bottles. And I will say about the video, I don't like the video for this. I don't like the Waldo kid. It kind of always upset me. I felt sorry for him. Maybe I know, isn't that goofy? I felt sorry for the kid.
That's David Lee Roth and his expertise in the business of how to do a video.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was the creator of all the videos for Van Halen. I like the fact that they got a little guitar player that looked just like Eddie.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of a trip when you see the kid go into him on the table doing the guitar solo, for sure. I'll Wait.
Oh, just a classic. It's one of my favorite songs. Probably because I dated a penthouse pet, and it's kind of like hits my heart.
For me, I think it's his best vocally. I think he sounds the best on this track. I mean, he's a innovator as far as, he's got his own style, but he really sounds really good on this track of all of them. Who wrote this? The guy from the Doobie Brothers. What's his name? Michael McDonald wrote this song.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And
what was cool, if you saw them on tour for 1984, Eddie had that little flip thing on his guitar for that tour, but that was the only time he actually played the keyboards and then switched over to the guitar. Whereas now everything's just taped and, they don't play it with Sammy. They never did. But on that tour, Eddie would play the keyboards for Jump, and then he'd go into the whole guitar thing, and he would do both of them. And it was awesome the way they did it on tour.
Good Girl Gone Bad. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it.
Yeah.
Just masterpiece.
Yeah.
And that's Diamond Dave and his lyrics.
I like that little jazzy fusion, and it changes. Great solo. Yeah, very cool. Very cool song. And then we have track 9, House of Pain.
This house of pain.
Another one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like that one too. So did you go to the 1984 tour?
Yeah, I saw both shows at the Spectrum, and ironically, I did look them up, and it was the day and the 20th and the 21st, which I totally forgot. My birthday's the 19th, so it brought back a lot of memories of who I went with, because I took me, when you get older, you kind of forget things, and I was like, wow, we had so much fun seeing them back-to-back nights at the Spectrum. And the coolest thing, if you watch the Panama video, they actually have that concert scene in there is all from the Spectrum.
You told me that, and I was surprised. I didn't know that. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I loved it.
And the opening band for that tour was Autograph. I think that. Do you remember seeing them?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan because they had that single "Turn Up the Radio," which was all right. It's too poppy for me, but they were actually really good in concert. I gotta admit that and I think the singer was really good friends with David Lee Roth. That's how they got on the tour.
Okay. Yeah, apparently they got a lot of. They didn't, from what I've heard, they didn't get a real great response from the Van Halen fans. They were often booed and heckled.
No, they didn't. I remember that. And the singer, I can't remember his name. There's a band in Philly that's back out now called Sick Vicky. He wrote a couple albums with them, and back in the day, because my friend Steve Salters was the drummer in the band. And yeah, I thought that was kind of ironic and cool at the same time, because here's this real famous guy in Hollywood that's a really well-known songwriter, and he's working with they were big in Philly, Sick Vicky, but I just thought it was awesome that they co-wrote the album with him.
Nice. Yeah. St. James.
What's that?
Jamie St. James.
Jamie St. James was from Black and Blue.
All right, never mind. I'm wrong. Okay. Autograph singer. I can't recall. Yeah, you're right. Black and Blue.
I think his name was Steve Plunkett, but then I think that might have been the guitar player.
All right. Well, I'm sure somebody will correct us in the comments, like they like to do. But I got to ask, are you a fan of Sammy Hagar, like the year after this? Like, were you?
I hated Sammy Hagar my whole life, and I never wanted to admit 5150 was a good album. And then OU812 came out, and that kind of turned me. And I saw them on the Monsters of Rock tour in '88, and they blew me away. I just hated the fact that Sammy and Dave always had that, riff between them, and Sammy would never sing Dave's songs, which he could, but Dave could never sing Sammy's song. He could never do it in his life. And 5150's probably, besides like 1984, Fair Warning, and the first Van Halen album, those are like my favorite albums to drive to. But 5150 in the summertime is the greatest driving album ever. You put that on, I take the tops off the Jeep and crank the hell out of it, and it's just I have so much respect for Sammy Hagar right now. He's 72. He still does it. And his stuff with Van Halen doesn't have the soul that the original Van Halen had, but it still kicks ass. I mean, to this day, it's just I don't care what anybody says. Sammy did the best job anybody could replacing David Lee Roth because they went to it was another band.
Yeah.
You know, it was a whole different band. It was all, and I didn't like that. I liked the whole feeling David Lee Roth gave Van Halen,
Mm-hmm.
and how I always tell people the thing about Van Halen, when it came to music, you can't beat Eddie Van Halen. When it came to the business side, you can't beat David Lee Roth because David Lee Roth had all the ideas nobody ever had. And for them to come out in 78, and believe me, I was the biggest Kiss fan. I hated Van Halen 1 for one reason, because it was so much better than Kiss. I mean, it blew the doors off anything Kiss ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me till Dance the Night Away to finally realize, like, yeah, I'm a huge Van Halen fan. The weird thing about Van Halen with David Lee Roth is they came in with a stick of dynamite with Van Halen. It just blew your mind. And then I love all the Van Halen albums, but then they broke up with the next album, 1984. Well, I forget. You Really Got Me was a cover.
Right. But they did differently. So it didn't sound like the original, but it's just the fact that I like an original song, you know. I don't mind a few of them here and there.
Well, Diver Down, the record company actually made them come back and do an album and go on tour, because you know how it was back in the day. You know, they wanted money, so they pushed the bands, and then they released that. I love Diver Down because if you look at all the original songs on that, those songs are just the greatest. I mean, even Dancing in the Streets, the way Eddie did it, that's one of the songs I really loved when Jamie's Cryin did it. Even though it's hard to replicate that guitar, I just loved it. I remember me and my ex-girlfriend at the concert, just going crazy.
Yeah.
Good.
Great to talk, and I'm going to have some pictures there. And I'm sorry I've gotten some complaints that I'm not cooking as much. I'm going through a lot of my recipes, and I'm really at a loss right now. If you have any requests, be sure to share them.
Maybe I'll come over to your house. We'll cook sometime, and we'll go through another album of Van Halen.
There you go.